Time, words, and opportunities are three things that never go back, so don't waste them by selecting words hastily. And don't pass up the chance you're ahead of them if they spit at you behind your back. The illness of mankind is that they weed others' fields while neglecting their own, and then they set off on a trip of vengeance and dig two graves. This means that we have two lives, and the second one starts when we discover we only have one. One can learn 1,000 lessons from failure, but only one from success. We go to greater lengths to convince others that we are happy and make an effort to think so ourselves. A healthy man wants 1,000 things. A sick man only wins once. If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present. Try to get your mind clear. Bad deeds won't occur if you don't think negatively. Both the one who says he can and the man who says he cannot are correct. Learn as though you are always fearing that you may become ignorant. Don't criticize your neighbor's roof for having a lot of snow on it while your door isn't clean. It is more dishonorable to distrust our friends than to be duped by them. If you detest them, you have lost. Seem feeble when in fact you are powerful. When in doubt, a man's enemy flatters him. The person who points out his shortcomings to him is his maker, and it is the greatest cowardice for him to refuse to do it. The rest of the world refers to what the caterpillar considers to be the end of a butterfly. A person trying to cross two highways at once will not succeed. Rich people are content with their status in life. The honorable person makes use of objects. Things use the lesser guy. A leader sets an exemplary example for others. Not by coercion. When submerged in salt water, even the best blade will eventually rust. Goodness arises from conscious action amid chaos, but there is also opportunity because man is inherently bad. Help guide others. When rage flares, consider the repercussions. You have to become your opponent to know them. You are not in the right place if you are the smartest person in the room. Opportunities increase as they are taken advantage of. Let go of the need to have those who are the happiest are also the funniest. I become what I might be when I let go of who I am. The mountain-moving man starts by removing little stones. To combat, one must first consider the costs involved. Weak defeats strong and hard. Be incredibly delicate, almost to the point of being undefined. Be so enigmatic as to be imperceptible so that you can control the destiny of your adversary. Pleasant words are not true. True words are not pleasant. An adept fighter is one who not only prevails but also succeeds at winning with ease, according to the ancients. If you live for other people's admiration, you'll end up as their prisoner. People in the past disliked talking a lot because they thought it was embarrassing for them to be unable to keep up with their own words. You have to have confidence in yourself, music. Water is the softest and most flexible substance there is, but attempt to fight it. All the questions have not been asked, and if the mind is ready, the body could continue without many things. Observe how your thoughts translate into words. Observe how your words influence your behavior. Observe how your activities shape your habits. Keep an eye on your habits as they shape your character. Your character shapes your fate. Little forces can do enormous things. A prudent guy stays away from all extremes. The man who still has a young heart is excellent. We take counsel and drop it, but we give it away in buckets. Think things through and act carefully before you act, because it might be challenging to control people who know a lot. If remaining silent is preferable to speaking, then one should refrain from speaking. The pinnacle of excellence isn't about winning every battle. Rather, it's about beating the opponent without ever engaging in combat. Nature moves slowly, but everything gets done eventually. Do unto others as you would have them do unto yourself. Justice's wheels grind fine but slowly. Man perishes at birth. Study the past to define the future. Loving your friend is easy, but sometimes the hardest lesson to learn is how to love your enemy. Practice is the key to learning knowledge, which is the treasure. You can break bad habits today, not tomorrow. Who knows doesn't say who speaks doesn't know. Trusting a man who has nothing to lose is unwise. Pick a career you are passionate about, and you will never have to work a day in your life. When something is small, do what is great, and plan for the harder things. Those who talk a lot tend to fail. Life is quite easy, but we keep trying to complicate it. It won't be strong everywhere if he sends reinforcements. Life is a succession of unforeseen natural changes. Don't fight them. Doing so will only make you sad. Let things unfold organically in the direction that seems right. Tomorrow is what matters. The past cannot be changed. A friend who knows too much about you can be considered an enemy. Fearlessness comes from conquering oneself and gaining strength from others. If you give a man a bowl of rice, you can feed him for a day. If you teach him how to grow rice on his own, you can save his life. The order gave rise to turmoil. Courage gave rise to fear. Strength gave rise to weakness. Don't search or you will fail. Don't search. You'll find. How slowly you move doesn't matter as long as you don't stop. The deft artist will not change his measurements to appease a foolish workman. Watch out for sugar that has been laced with poison. Watch out for the fly that perched on a dead snake. Men who have an excessive desire to live often perish because they are unaware of the negative effects of battle and fail to see its advantages. Admitting that you don't have time is like admitting that you don't want to. A great person places the blame on himself, whereas a little person places the blame on others. Thus, there are no constant conditions in warfare, just as water does not maintain a steady shape. It is better to light one small candle than to curse the darkness. Friends are the siblings God never gave us. If you fill your bowl to the brim, it will spill. If you keep sharpening your knife, it will become blunt. Any animal that has horns on its head and blood in its veins will fight if it is assaulted. The person who appears intelligent while lacking information is the one who is in the lead. Tell me and I'll forget. Show me and I might remember. Include me and I'll comprehend. You will always be their prisoner if you give a damn about what other people think. Completing a task is akin to excavating a well. Even if you reach a depth of 70 feet, it remains an abandoned well until water is found. Similarly, a loss may transform into a profit, or a profit may revert to a loss. The beginning of wisdom is the sense of right and evil. Attack the evil that is within you rather than the evil that is in others. Pay attention to your thoughts because they are the starting point of actions. There is no crime greater than having too many desires. There is no disaster greater than not being content. There is no misfortune greater than being covetous. An unpleasant item is twice as awful when you complain about it, and it is destroyed when you laugh at it. 3 paths exist for us to acquire wisdom. First, via thought, which is the highest virtue. Second, through imitation, which is the simplest. And third, through experience, which is the most painful. You can always climb above people who hurt you by forgiving them. Neither lovely words nor the truth are always beautiful. The reality people find it upsetting that they can't do it. The issue, though, is that you are under the authority of the person who irritates you. They don't do it. When you recognize that everything in the world is yours and that nothing is lacking, find contentment in what you already have and rejoice in the state of affairs. Routes were designed for travel, not for arrival. Never say never. Nothing stays the same and days pass by quickly. Your life is determined by the thoughts you give it. We lose by gaining, and we gain by losing. Regardless of how busy you may think you are, you need to make time for reading or give in to self-selected ignorance because when I let go of who I am, I become who I can be. True happiness comes from loving and being understood. Enormous happiness comes from being loved. The first step towards virtue, which is the start of moral perfection, is temperance. Sometimes we see a lot, but we miss the important things. For example, a snow goose does not need to be bathed to become white. You just need to be yourself. The wise man knows what he does not know. If you lack faith, then existence does not believe in you. What is evil to one person at one point in time can be good to another. These three are your greatest riches. Simplicity, patience, and compassion are the only things I have to teach you. Strength comes from being genuinely loved by someone, and courage comes from loving someone deeply. The path is close, but men search it too far. It is in simple things, but men search it in challenging things. Painful endings are camouflaged as new beginnings. Never forget kindness. Forget injuries. Everything has beauty, but not everyone can perceive it. The unwilling soul sees what is hidden, and the ever-wanting soul sees just what it desires. The path of truth is as easy to find as a magnificent road. The sole evil is that people refuse to pursue it. A man should never be without shame because the disgrace of having no shame is shamelessness. If you are bent, you will remain straight. Be depleted and you will still be whole. Be exhausted and you will still be fresh. The greatest possession is not health. The guy who chases 2 rabbits catches none. The greatest treasure is contentment. Self-assurance is the best ally. That's how the whole scheme of things works. Good things are hard to get, bad things are very easy to get, and the whole being knows without learning, sees without looking, and detains without doing. A trail through the mountains, if used, becomes a path in a short while, but if left untended, becomes blocked by grass in an equally short time. Thought without learning is dangerous. Learning without thought is labor lost. You will discover that treating people the way you would like to be treated is the quickest route to kindness. Success and failure both have risks. Fear and optimism are both hollow. Higher morality individuals do not think of themselves as moral, so they are the most moral. A mistake occurs when you commit an error and fail to fix it. When a sage wishes to be ahead of people, he lowers himself below them. Conversely, when someone offends you, he takes away your bad energy and provides it to you. What is a good man who teaches a bad man? What is a terrible man who works for a nice man? If you spend a lot of time alone yourself, you will eventually come to terms with loneliness. If you are terrified of being alone, you will never realize your full potential. Learn as if you were not accomplishing your goals, and as though you were worried about missing them. You can't read a book without learning something, and not having sex makes people neurotic. However, if you stay true to who you are and don't try to compete or compare, you will win the respect of all people. It is far worse for someone to intentionally upset you deeply. A man who exudes bravery dares to perish. An inner courageous man dares to live. Our greatest accomplishment is rising each time we fall, not never falling. A great man never depends on laws. Instead, he clings to the important and abandons the unimportant. He lives his life in the truth. Don't worry if nobody knows you. Try to be someone worth knowing. You can accomplish everything if you don't fear death. Although the superior man speaks modestly, he acts above expectations. Someone who rushes through business tasks in an attempt to meet deadlines will not succeed. On the other hand, someone who meticulously completes their work will not fail. For a moment, the man who poses a question is a fool. The more you go without sex, the less you desire it. A man who doesn't ask is a fool for life. Before its time, truth is always harmful. When true virtue is lost, good nature comes. When good nature is lost, good nature disappears. When justice is lost, justice emerges. Decency seems to exist, but the norms governing decency are merely the appearance of reality and the source of all disorder. Without a focused, uninteresting effort, no great accomplishment can be made, and realizing your insignificance is liberating. Friendship is one mind in two bodies. A person who is content with their position and knows the measure will not take excessive pride, which will ultimately lead to human disaster. Sometimes winning requires giving up, and other times being in a poor place will lead to success.